Hey all, this is Param. In this videos, we are going to discuss quite interesting topic. Okay, so what is another that is runtime field. Okay, before to discuss runtime field, there is something called scripted field. Okay, so we will see what is a scripted field later. Okay, but first there is some difference between the scripted field and the runtime field. So I think runtime field is a recent addition. Scripted field is existing from the maybe from the old versions onwards. Okay, uh, the difference between scripted version and we will discuss the scripted field or script query later. Okay, now let us see in the runtime field. So what does mean runtime fields? Okay, runtime fields values are get populated while querying time only. So that means it does not index it. Okay, so it does not index it. So usually, say if you want to do some addition or some kind of arithmetic operations among the field of a document, okay, and you want to retrieve such a values, we will go for runtime field. The good thing is runtime field does not get indexed. Okay, does not get indexed, so it is calculated or it is evaluated only the querying time only. Okay, so that's how it is saving the space. At the same times, okay, at the same times the query performance somewhat slow. Okay, if it is not as much equal to the querying explicitly mapping field. Okay, since the whatever we have specified in the runtimes, it has to be executed for all the document, right? Okay, while querying, so that's why that is the reasons. Okay, but there is of course if you want a runtime field, okay, at the same times, and you don't want to wait for till the response comes returns, okay, you can prefer the asynchronous API. So that is a workaround. Okay, we want runtime field, at the same times we want to get quick response. Okay, so, sorry, we want the response. Okay, or so in that case you can consider asynchronous API. So obviously result will be comes back. Okay, but the other side is it is increase the ingestion speed. That means, see, let's say I am ingesting some many column data, many columns, many field data. Okay, so whatever the fields are defined in the mapping as a properties, so rest of the those field will get ingested, I mean indexed in fact. Okay, the rest of the field, just to put it in the runtime field. Okay, so so that is advantage. Okay, so those field does not get ingested or indexed. Okay, so index, if it does not get indexed, what is advantage? Okay, literally, in low level there is a engine called loosein. Okay, so that engine, whenever do the indexing, it do many things. Okay, so it will create all the terms. Okay, in the inverted index, exactly to be say, in the inverted index it will create all the terms. Okay, then for each terms what are the documents is matched. That's how it will map. Okay, so the Lucene engine. Okay, and another one is document values. Okay, that also enabled for all the fields except annotated text and text field. These, for these two field, doc values cannot apply or cannot be used. So doc values are other form of things. Okay, it is store the all the terms. Okay, it is store all the terms in the column fashioned manner. Okay, so that's the aggregation and sortings we can do in the column values, in the document values. Okay, okay, well, let us not deviate. Okay, now, as I said, so that's how it increases speed. Okay, so that's how if we are going for runtime field, only the querying time only going to execute, right? Whatever the document we are ingesting, it will just keep it as in the store. That's it, just simply store. No, don't do any analysis or don't do any indexing or don't do any terms finding, something like that. So nothing is prepared for indexing, simply saved. So that's why the indexing speed is very fast. Of course, the best practice is combination of explicit mapping as well as runtime mapping. So whatever the fields you want to keep it in the explicit mapping, and rest of the field you can keep it in the runtime, say runtime mappings. Okay, of course the third one is, let's say if you want to some more field, let's say you have some index, you cannot do any modification. Of course alias is not reaching, is not satisfying us, then we can define runtime field at any times. Okay, runtime field at any time, and we can evaluate it in the query itself. Okay, so we know whatever the fields from the source, from the source which field you want to populate in the runtime fields, you can define as a script by the script, then you can get it done. So runtime field is a handy way. Okay, when you want to add some more field which is not part of the explicit mappings. So that is the other aspect. Okay, so it is saving the storage cost. Okay, then it's good for it is good for any unstructured data, not only log data. It is good for unstructured data. Of course, runtime field support sorting, aggregation and filtering also. It support all the run. So that means you can use the runtime field in the sorting or filtering. Okay, so you can sort your result based on the runtime field. That's what they're saying. Then of course you can do aggregate all your runtime fields. That's what they're saying. But the script field, that does not support. Okay, that's how it differ from the script field and runtime field. Okay. uh, Now the now the script field, what it must have script, right? Okay, it must have script, but here the runtime field you may have or may not have. So, okay, this is completely optional about the script. So I will show the demo, in fact. Okay, so some other I'll show the demo. Some of the, I mean, you can see that demo, some runtime field with the script and sometimes with the script. So what does it mean with the script and the script? Let's say if you want to do some manipulation on the existing field, I mean field from the source, and manipulation and populate it into the runtime field, then you have to use script. Okay, so script means obviously painless script. The painless script means it must use the emit method, right? But without scripting, what is the benefit? What is the benefit now? So it will, as the assumption is, the source have such a field, such a same match, the same name of the field. But let's say we are pushing one document that has some user age. Okay, user age, or let's say user address. Okay, but that we can define user address runtime field, but we have not declared user address in the properties column or my explicit mapping. So what will happen is, the assumption is the document have a user address column, but we declare as a runtime in this case I want to have only single field. Straight away I can retrieve. Okay, I don't want to any manipulate while retrieving. So in that case, I don't need any script. So that's why they say runtime field is with the scripting and without scripting. Okay, if you want to do some manipulation on this from the source field, source of the field, you need a script. Otherwise, you don't need to put the script. Okay, it will be straightforward. The assumption is it is the same name of fields available in the source. That's why for those cases you no need to put scripting. Now, what are the data types can be applied? Okay, what are the data types can be a runtime field. Okay, so obviously these are the types. Okay, boolean, composite, date, table, long, IP, keyword, so almost minimum set. But if you go to the actual data type, it's a very big list. Okay, so these are the data types supported by the Elastic Search. It's a very big list, but only subset of data types are supported for the runtime field. Okay, so runtime field, now runtime field we have explicitly defined here, right? Okay, so whatever the fields are in defined in the mapping, those will be indexed. Rest of the field treated as a runtime field. Okay, so to do that, we have to declare the important property of dynamic. Where is that field? Where is that dynamic field? Let me open here. I think it is there. Okay. Let me open dynamic property. Yes, here you can see here, right? So dynamic is one of the mapping parameters. Okay, if it is true, yes, you can add any new field in your document. If it is false, no way. If it is strict, that exactly data type should match. If it is a runtime, means what? Whatever the new fields are there, that is not indexed, simply treat as runtimes. If it is simply true, dynamic that true, what will happen? The new fields added as index as well. But if it is runtime, okay, if it is runtime for this, all the new field treat as a runtime field. That is what different here. Okay, different here between true and runtimes. Okay, if you said true, all the new fields are indexed. That is what matter. Okay, If it is runtimes, all the new fields are not indexed, but still they are treated as a runtime field. Okay. Now let me go here. Yes. Now we will see how to define by mapping itself. Okay, so mapping in the sense of what? Either mapping in the sense the mapping can be part of the index creation, or mapping can be part of the index template, right? So in the mapping, so that is where we are explicitly defining. So that's why we call it explicitly. That's fine. Okay, so that's why we are defining explicitly mapping runtime field. Okay, that portion is here. Okay, so create runtime field by the mapping itself. Okay, I will show demo about creating mapping by creating runtime field by mapping itself. Okay, search we will see in the next videos. Okay, and then of course we can do update as well. Okay, we will see that all the stuff in the demo here. I think I have explained all the fact about that. Okay, script field can replace script. That's fine. That is fine. Okay, I think I explained what is it update. Yeah, okay. Let's say we have defined runtime field, but of course, if you have any query or dashboard which depend on this the runtime field, and in middle or in after sometimes if you have removed the runtime field because it does not indexing, right, so it will not be any impact. So say at any times you can replace or anytime you can reset that means by remove that. If you remove that dependent dashboard or dependent query will be give the error. Okay, so that is a default. Okay, there is no surprise on that. Okay, now let move to the demo portion here. Okay, so I'll push pull my postman here. Now we are discussing about runtime field by mapping itself. So runtime field we are defining explicitly, right, using the runtime for a runtime component. Let's say the runtime component. Okay, this is a one sample. Okay, so usually the very decent one it will be like this only. Okay, so let's say we missed something. Okay, still values are there. We want to manipulate that existing value field value and populate as a new field while querying. So that is a very decent use cases. Okay, so here I am defining a index. Okay, for that index I am defining a mapping that is called explicit mapping. Okay, so I am mapping. So in that I am defining only one property, timestamp is a date columns. Okay, so if any other column comes, okay, if any other column comes, so what will happen, sir? So by default dynamic is true. So if it is any new column comes, what will happen now? That new column indexed column, that is not runtime columns. If I want to runtime, I have to explicitly call it out dynamic, dynamic column runtimes. Okay, anyhow that is out of topic. Let's go here. Now I am defining a runtime column. Okay, so in that I am defining only one column here. So this is the name of the column, day of weeks. Okay, the data types keyword, as I said, this keyword is support. Okay, here I have given a script, this script painless script. So it will be the emit method execution. Okay, so inside of that what they are doing is they are accessing the time field. It's indexing field, right? So they're accessing time field and identify that which day of the week. So it will be Monday to Saturday, Saturday to Sunday, something like that. Okay, so this is how using the script they have created a dynamic. So they created a runtime query. So runtime field. Now I can use this runtime field for aggregation or sorting or filtering purpose, whatever it is I can do. Okay. So the thing is what now we have explicitly defined runtime field. Similarly, we can create many field, whatever how many field we want we can create. Okay. Uh, so here this is script and mapping front times without field. Yeah, here you can see and the same thing is okay, same thing is, but here we have the field, that means indexing field. Okay, then we have runtime columns or runtime definition as well. Here we have defined one columns, but we said keyword, but we didn't say what how it is populated, right, while querying. So the assumption is the source which we are ingesting into this index has field called day hyphen the day of week columns. Okay, if it is not there, the value will not be there. That's it. So there is no error. There is no harmful. Okay, so that's what. So it can runtime field can be with script or without script. Okay, now, so of course, in like any other things, we can update as well. So, okay, We can update any runtime fields. What is that runtime field? Another. This is I think no on this emit. Okay, okay here. So here we have update. Let me see something other update. So that will be very easy. Mapping runtimes. Okay, delete runtimes. Okay, update. This is a sample I think. Okay, I don't have any other examples. Here we can update the sense what is not the same if we are if we are defining the runtime. Okay, runtime. See here, see the syntax different. In the runtime, there is no mapping and all, right? See, usually it will be some. We are just updating the runtime field. We already defined some runtime field. We want to update. So obviously mapping, right? Fine. So instead of properties, okay, of course, if you are adding any column, then we use the properties. So since here this time we want to update the only runtime portions, okay, only the runtime portions are included here. See the how they have defined the structure. Okay, here we can replace the replace the values. Okay, that's how we can update any runtime field. So this is the sample JSON. Okay, this obviously this API is always same. Updating any column or updating indexing column or updating runtime column is same. Endpoint is same, but only the body of the runtimes will be vary. Now, if you want to delete, let's say you think you can, if you said null, then it will be deleted. Okay. Now, one more thing I want to tell you. Say while defining index, we can specify that either the particular column should index or not should not index. Okay. So what they are saying is think about the dog value as well. So, okay. Uh, so value. So dog value means what? If you want to know the dog values, we have to go for in depth of the how the hallucination is working. While indexing any document. So what is happening? It's a column fashioned terms collection. Okay, it is column fashioned as a term collections. So that is not indexed actually. Okay, that is not indexed by default except text and the annotated text for all the column it create a doc value. So obviously it occupies some space, right? Obviously it will occupy some space in the column manner for all the for all the terms. In fact the terms belongs to many documents, right? If you want to save some space, you can specify doc value false. It's simply true or false. Okay, you can specify the false. So in this case, in that case, it will be retrieved even if you're using doc values. He says it will be really fast. Okay, it's really fast. Yes, doc value columns really fast because of this column database, right? Column demand terms, right? So that's why if the particular columns doc value is true, sorry, doc value is true. That is that column is retrieved very fast. That's what they said. Okay, this is what about a runtime field the high level introductions, and I have shown the demo as well. Thank you. Thanks for watching. If you like my content, like my videos, leave your comment, okay, and subscribe my channels, share with the videos with your friends. Thank you.